So I was about to make these shelves. I started making them, and then I decided there are other people that might want to know how I'm making these. My garage is cluttered, so I continue to make shelves. I'll show you what the shelf looks like. So this is what the shelf looks like. This is the one that I built right. This one right there, the small one I built a long time ago. These are shelves. As you can see, my garage is very cluttered. So I'm building these shelves to straighten it up and to clean it up. Those shelves on the wall are not strong shelves. They've already fallen a couple times. I will continue to build this shelf all the way around the garage. As you can see, I still have quite a few things to put on the shelving. So to build this, and it's a comprehensive setup, very, very simple, but here's how it works. You can take any kind of wood. You can take cedar, plywood, however you want to do it. So what I did was I took some 16-foot cedar 2x4s and I cut them down. I got them in cull, so I didn't pay the full price. Most people will just want to use just standard plywood because it's much more accessible, much more cost effective, but I was able to get the cedar in cull so it didn't cost very much. It cost about 10% of what it normally costs. So each section, 16-foot section, would cost normally about $40. I ended up getting them for about maybe 6 or 7, and then I was able to cut them down to size. So most people's garage, and I'll show you this side. You can see on this side, I did the same thing. And then I actually put some Rubbermaid hangers as well to hang some of my yard tools. But on this side, as you can see, where the garage door is, I made it kind of tall, and this one just barely fit in, but I have 5 shelves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 5th shelf goes above the garage door to the side of it. And so I had to measure properly, and to make it the width, it's 17 inches from here to here. So 17 inches across, because when you look at how tall or how much space is between the garage door and the wall, there's maybe only about 20, maybe 19, 20 inches, so I made it 17. And this is, if you have a standard 2-car garage, this is probably similar to the space that you might have. But I made this 17. If I could have made it a little bit wider, I would have, but it's still solid the way it is. So what you do is you take 2 framed out sections on the side, you can see. So you start with the 2 pieces on the edge. And so let's go over to what I've already started. So you can take, as you can see, I'm starting this. I haven't finished putting this piece on yet. So this still has to be put on. But you can see that I have, as you can see, there are 2 100-inch 2x4 cedar plywood sections that are put together, and I'm spacing them starting at the bottom. We start at the bottom, right at the very bottom, just letting the long piece have just a small amount right here, so that the weight of the shelf doesn't hit the ground. So you have this is what ends up holding up the bottom piece. All right, so this is 17 inches from here to here. So then I go 24 inches to here. So from the bottom of the first tier to the next tier is 24 inches, and then 24 inches from here to here, and then from there to there, and then the top piece is slightly different, but I'll get to that in a second. This is very, very important. When you measure to put the 17-inch piece in, don't measure from here to here. Measure from the bottom to here. And then measure on the next one. Don't measure from here to here. Measure from the bottom to here. And then on the next tier, measure from the bottom to here. If you don't do that, you're going to have a variable that will mess you up. Okay, now, this is kind of important. At the very top, you want to put the shelf at the very top. So you want to put the 2x4 here to make sure that this is flush. Make sure that that's flush because this is where the shelf will be. So you want to put the support for the shelf here. All right. And then after we finish the two sections, and I'm almost done with these two sections, as you can see, then I will have a total of 5 tiers. The bottom tier, tier 2, 3, 4, and then the top tier. Okay, so I'm going to finish putting on the last 2 tier supports, and then I'll come back and we'll put the side pieces on. So I cut a total of 10 pieces because I have a total of 5 shelves. So I made 10 tiers, 91 inches. Then I made 4 sections of 2x4 at 100 inches. So 4 sections at 100 inches, 10 sections at 91 inches. So now I have 10 17-inch 2x4 sections that I spaced evenly. And like I said, 24 inches, 24 inches, 24, another 24, 24. So 24, 48, 72, and so on. And then when you get to the top, you just have to make it to where it's level with the top by putting that one 2x4 spacer at the top. Okay, I'll come back when this is done. Okay, so one of the things I'd like to say that's kind of important, after you finish putting the supports on, make sure that they're lined up. So go down the line, put the sections together, and make sure that they line up. This one almost doesn't look like it's lined up because it has a different color wood, but it is. So yeah, make sure that they're lined up. That's very important. I made the mistake one time of not doing that, and I had to redo it. I had to take it back apart and redo it. Okay, so now that I've got this done, okay, so one of the things that's kind of important, it's dark out here, so this camera's picking up okay, but it's still dark out here. So one of the things that you need to do that's very important when you do this is make sure that the lumber is taller on the outside. So I'll show you. So when you put these pieces together, make sure that the 4 inches, 3.5 inches, is this way. Don't do it like this. If you do it like this, you won't have the same structural strength on the shelf. But if you turn it sideways, then you will have that structural shelf. So now I'm going to put these together, and then I'll come back when I'm done. What we're doing is we're putting these together with 3-inch screws. Make sure you use 3-inch screws so that it goes all the way deep into the second piece of the wood. Okay, we'll come back. Okay, so now that we have the shelf set up, or the frame of the shelf set up, now we put together the planks. So all I use is just cedar planks, and then I just cut them to the 17-inch length. And there it is. I'll put it down here so you can see it better. We're in the dark. We'll start down here. So we start here, and you just put one by one by one. The cedar planks are not very expensive, and you're going to want to use maybe 1-inch nails for this one. And you just put it down the line. You can space them. You can space them out if you want, or you can just put them straight together. I've done it a couple different ways, so this is putting it together for me is better, specifically because if you end up having a box of nails and it slips off, then basically, all right, here's a bad piece. I won't be able to use that. But basically, if you have a box of nails and the nail it falls out of the box, it won't go through. So it's better for me to put them together, but you don't have to put them together if you don't want. But there you go. And then once it's done, once you're finished with it, with all 5 tiers, then you're able to clean up some of your clutter. As you can see, I have much clutter. And I did this shelf, and this was a big deal for me. That once I put that in, I realized that I wanted to do it all the way around. I have a work desk that's completely cluttered, and I have a workout gym I can't even use because there's so much clutter in here. So then I built the shelves. Once I built the shelves, I started straightening up. These shelves in the back will go. They've already fallen on me twice. They're not solid. These shelves that I'm building now with the cedar planks, of course, cedar 2x4s and the cedar planks. Again, you don't have to use cedar. It's much cheaper to go just with standard plywood, but it is really, really solid when you're done, and it's something that you'll be proud of. I will say this, at the very bottom, you can see that there's a space here, and you'll probably want to put a 2x4 underneath just because you can, if you end up putting like something extremely heavy on the bottom. But as long as you keep the 2x4 vertical, then it will probably not bend down. But over time, who knows, that's the best thing about cedar, is that it kind of holds its form. It doesn't warp quite as easily as a pine 2x4 does. But there you go. There's your shelf for your garage. If you had to buy something like this, it would cost about $300. But after you make this with pine, or if you get the, like I said, the cedar and cull wood, you could end up spending maybe about $30, $40 at most, and it is a big shelf that holds a lot of stuff. Once I put this up, much of my clutter will be gone, but then I'll change out those other shelves and clean up my garage. It's got to be cleaned up. It's just too messy right now. Okay, there you go. I hope that helps you out a lot. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. And this is the finished product. You can see that I put together the other shelves. I haven't finished putting everything back on, but this is how much cleaner it looks when it's done. So there you go. There's your do-it-yourself shelving.